Alright, so I know all of you guys like to do your Zenkai method. All of you like to macro, and that's fine. Do what you want to do, but lucky for you, I might have found a better way. So far, we know that mastery's hard as fuck to get right. Mastery's not exactly the easiest thing. Snake doesn't want anybody knowing about it. One of his rules is combat testers and devs can't say anything on mastery. So this screenshot on screen is coming from the info server from the Discord Final Stand. I'm one of the info team. I had found in one of the Spanish speaking servers that people have been working on mastery for a while, and one of their findings is that mastery is very likely linked to XP gain. And so the more XP you gain in form, the more likely you are to gain mastery. Now, this isn't new information. That's not what I'm here for. But it is important for this next bit. So the current running theory within this Discord is that mastery is tied to whether or not only are you in form, but is that mastery going to other skills. And so it's believed that mastery, when you kill an NPC, when you get XP, is split between the skills used and any forms used. And so if that's true, that would mean the best way to gain form mastery would be by killing things using M1s and M2s. And that would also mean the best way to get skill mastery would be to use that skill in base so that when the XP is split, it's not split between your form as well as your skills. Right here's a general illustration of our current understanding to where in your base form, because you're not splitting it with your form, you'll be getting more skill XP. And where in your form, if you use M1 attacks, you won't be splitting it with skills, so you'll be getting more form XP. This screenshot shows the current understanding of a possible hard cap on Mastery XP. It would explain why, after farming Mastery for so long, people still aren't getting stars. So, in these next few parts, I'm going to go over my current working theories as well as things I've seen in videos that aren't very public yet, and just try and congeal everything together. And so, currently, the working theory is mastery is based on the power level of enemies that you kill. And so, this would mean that farming bosses like Super Boo, obviously using the M2 method, might be one of the best ways to get form XP, as well as world bosses, obviously. Turtles is a very easy one to do solo. And so it might be best to do that. And then if you're on cooldown, you could obviously farm the world champion, the androids, or the Cell Juniors. So before I keep going, I do want to say I know every mastery video is basically just theories. This is why every mastery video is basically just theories, because Snake doesn't want us to fucking know. Snake thinks it's funny, and it's our job to figure out his mechanics. It's great. Alright, now I want to show you guys why I think the best way to get mastery is the split method. This is what my Jiren's emotion is after only one day of playing on my Jiren. Now, when I play my Jiren, it's very heavily focused on M1s and M2s because those get me back ki while I'm in emotion, which is my health bar. And so, obviously, if you look at what I'm running, it's mostly extenders for my M1s, Vital Strike, Divine Sweep. I actually recently switched Flip Kick to Trash. Now I'm just going to quickly showcase how almost everything in my hotbar is mastered, close to perfected. And the reason for this is I'd like to attribute it to the fact that I'm in base about half of the time as a Jiren. I'm usually not running emotion unless I need to. Part of that is because I don't want to hit hard caps on my form mastery. I'd like to let it sit. Also, something I'll get into later, I think there might be macro detection, and I don't want to set that off either. So, this right here is the main reason why I believe the theory that there might just be macro detection in Final Stand. Now, you can obviously see that I have 3 stars on my Kaioken. There's no world where I should only have 3 stars on my Kaioken, seeing as I macroed for roughly 48 hours straight by sitting in dojo spamming Zenkais. That's just, there's no world where macros still work and that should happen because those 3 stars I almost exclusively got through macroing right before they pushed that update where they nerfed mastery. Thank you, Snake. Now I'll quickly go over why I don't think anybody should be macroing in this game anymore, because now this is all conjecture, especially right here. I have no proof of this. This is all just gut feeling because I didn't record any of this because this is way before I decided that I wanted to talk about macro for you guys. But while I was still playing on my human, I ran Kaioken constantly, like almost no breaks. And so this leads me to believe genuinely that there is a hard cap that forms whenever you macro Zenkais. And what I believe is that this is a form of potential. Snake's said multiple times that there's many forms of potential in the game, and the only one that he really gave us was potential for lost time in the time chamber. And so I believe mastery potential, I think you waste a lot of it through doing Zenkai macro, and I think that's on purpose to let people stop doing it because Snake didn't like how people were getting OP in his game by not playing the game, which is understandable, but fuck, I hate it because I used to be a human main until I realized the best form in the game was damn near impossible to perfect. Now I'll quickly touch on some things that almost everybody knows just to get a cohesive video where everything's together. So, obviously, yes, it is considered most of the time by most people, Zenkais get you more form XP. Now, this has been a thing since the beginning. It used to be measurable because the Zenkai macro method used to be helpful. No, not so much. One theory, this is a theory that I've heard about this, is that when you macro, you set a 4 minute timer from when you macro, as long as you stay in your form, that you're supposedly getting more mastery XP. Personally, I have no way to confirm or deny this. This is something that I read in one of the Spanish servers. I'm not quite fluent enough to, to ask them for proof, unfortunately. Thank you, ChatGPT, for translating what I can't understand. But this is important. This is an important discovery because it tells us how we can use our Zenkais properly. If this is true, obviously. The second thing everyone obviously knows, I already covered, is world bosses give visible form mastery. A lot of the time when people fight a world boss, they'll see an obvious rise in the speed at which they're gaining mastery XP for their forms.
So the next obvious one, obviously, time and form. It's one that's been believed for a while now, and people have noticed that if they just spam form over and over while doing push-ups in spawn, sometimes they'll gain mastery stars. Now, last time I saw a visible difference by doing this was before they nerfed mastery. So I think part of the macro detection might possibly be, if the macro detection is real, that you can't just spam form and sit in one spot. As unfortunate as it is, guys, I don't think it works anymore. But that is a method that widely known. So that leaves the last method that I can think of being quests. Now, a lot of people swear by quests. I'm not one of them, I'm not going to lie to you. I haven't noticed a tangible difference by doing quests. But it is something that was covered in the information server that I showed you. And so I thought I'd touch on that in this video. Now, personally, I've never noticed a tangible difference completing a quest and getting a star in Form Mastery. But it is very possible that all XP counts towards Form Mastery. So take that how you will, I guess. For now, that's pretty much everything that I know to be plausible in the workings of Form Mastery within Dragon Ball Z Final Stand Remastered. Now, I know a lot of this is stuff that I'm repeating, but I hope I brought new things, especially to you English speakers. And I just want to help the community to have a better understanding of form mastery. I'm sorry to all you humans. I wish I knew how to master Kaioken faster because time and form, not really an option. Good luck getting a ton of M1 strings, especially if you're a key build. Now, obviously, Kaioken Rush makes it kinda easy, but good luck. Good luck, humans. If you find a better way, genuinely, guys, I want you to let me know. And that's not just for humans, that's for everybody. I have 3 builds myself. Whenever the slot transfer happens, I'm probably going to switch that human, which was a melee build, over to something else. Maybe a Tuffle, maybe an Android. I had a Majin before, not doing that one. Anything you guys learned about Form Mastery, I'd love to hear about. The info Discord will be linked in the description. You guys can reach out to anybody in there. You guys can reach out to me if you'd like. And having played 4 races now to almost max, my Majin was like 123 when I gave up on him. I'd love to do a video describing my experience in every race so far, which one I believe to be the strongest, which one I believe to be the weakest. Anyways, that pretty much wraps it up for today. If anybody has any more information, put in the comments, go into the server, DM me, any way you'd like. I just want everybody to have a better time playing this game and maybe just understand it a little bit more. Thank you.